it's good to be back with you again as we are continuing on our study here at Christ Table. My name is Kevin Young. I have the privilege of serving as lead clergy here at Christ Table. If you'd like to know more about us, super easy to do. All you need to do is visit the URL that is right there on the screen the whole time, www.christstable.today. Now, if you'd like more information about this study in particular, then right there, go.christstable.today/peace has all the information on this study. There's a list that you can download there in PDF form of all of the days of this study, as well as all the readings for each and every day for a week. For 8 weeks, we are headed towards the middle of that study, but we're still very early on. Each of them are self-contained, so you've not really missed anything along the way. So you can just start where you are and build forward from there. If you'd like, though, to have the study curriculum that goes along with this to help you each and every day, it gives an activity, gives the readings as well, then you can get that right there at that website as well, go.christstable.today/peace. Now, though the PDF is absolutely free, no strings attached, I will say that if you'd like a printed, nicely bound copy of the study curriculum, it is available there. It does help us out there at Christ Table. It's a great way to support this ministry, a great way to support me as well. In doing this ministry, all you need to do when you get there is just click on the button that says get the box, and it comes along with several other spiritual resources that will help you along your journey through this peace study. Now, the other thing that I want to encourage you to do, if you've not already done so, is to pick up a copy of this book, Reconstruct Your Faith. It's now available in local Barnes & Noble bookstores. If you have a Barnes & Noble near you, then it should be on the shelves there. And if it's not on the shelves there, then ask the manager where it is. You can also get this on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and anywhere where you purchase books. I don't get any money from the sales of this book now. The publisher has already paid me for writing the book, so you're not doing anything to help me out, but this is helping you out and hopefully helping out those who you know, because what is in here is a personal story of a journey of faith trauma, as well as lots of encouragement and examples of ways in which you might be able to put your faith back together. And this may not be a resource for you, though I think anybody will read this and be able to get something out of it on their faith journey. But so many people are struggling with faith or where to go from where they are. And this is a great resource for them. So I would encourage you to take a look at that. If you'd like more information about it or to find places where you can pick it up online, you can visit the URL right there in front of me, www.drkevinyoung.com. Now, in today's study, we are continuing to look through this topic of peace and have a conversation about all of these different places in the Bible where it speaks about peace. And today on day 18, we find ourselves looking at Hebrews chapter 12, verses 14 and 15. Hebrews is a very... there is a yawn again. Apparently, part of what I am supposed to learn in this journey of peace is that I need rest and I need peace. And this yawning each and every day on this study feels like I'm learning something or needful to learn something about peace in my own life. I tell you, live. Out of all the Bible studies that I've done live over what now, almost, I think 3 plus years that we've been doing these, I think I may yawn once every study. This one I've yawned literally, I think, every single day. Anyway, today we find ourselves in Hebrews chapter 12, verses 14 and 15. And what we're going to do is we're going to jump into a conversation as we are wont to do. And I always kind of discourage doing that, just kind of jumping in and jumping out. And so if you have extra time, if you want extra credit, if you're one of those people who like the gold star, then I will always encourage you each and every day of this study in particular to read around the text in order to gain context. Usually we include that in the readings, but we wanted this one to be just a bit different and to go in a different direction and to be a little bit more interactive rather than text-based. And so for this one, if you have the time to do it and read around it, then I encourage you to do it. But right now, all that we're going to do is take a look at 2 verses in the book of Hebrews, right there at the end, chapter 12. We're living in peace with everyone, the author, whom we have no idea who the author is. Possibly, maybe even probably a female, which is why the author isn't probably named. Work at living in peace with everyone, and work at living a holy life. For those who are not holy will not see the Lord. I'll hit pause there. I'm just gonna yawn the whole way through this. Yeah. Sorry about that. Work at living in peace with everyone, and work at living a holy life. For those who are not holy will not see the Lord. Peace does not just happen, right? This is kind of what's being said here in the context of this passage, is that peace is something that needs applied effort. And we've kind of understood that and seen that in a few other places along this journey through the Bible, is that peace requires involvement. Peace requires investment. Peace requires you and I to have skin in the game. We can't just do nothing and expect peace to happen. Many of us are standing on the sidelines of our faith. We're standing on the sidelines of our lives and our relationships. We're standing on the sidelines of our jobs. We're standing on the sidelines of our politics. And we're kind of just expecting things to get better, to get less angry, for there to be less conflict. And it doesn't really happen that way. That's why we have kind of these two different ideas of peacekeepers and peacemakers. Sometimes you gotta get involved a little bit. But look at what we're getting involved in here. Work at living in peace with everyone. So what you're working at isn't making others peaceful as much as here in this. You're working on yourself, right? You're doing self-care, you're doing self-work in order to be able to live at peace with everyone. That means that whenever you get that feeling inside of yourself and the blood pressure starts to rise and you've had it up to here, it's time to work at living in peace. Now, it's interesting that now there's like this second part, though, and work at living a holy life. For those who are not holy won't see the Lord. Yes, maybe this has an eschatological or an end times idea. For those who are not holy will not see the Lord, but I'm actually a little more inclined to think that what's in view here is in the immediate more than in the eternal. For those who are not holy will not see the Lord. Will not see the Lord in their neighbor, will not see the Lord in their relationships, will not see the Lord in the conflicts around them, will not see the Lord. So this idea of living in peace and working at living a holy life, just yawn through the whole thing. Working, living a, I don't know, maybe someday we'll do a bloopers reel of me yawning and saying stupid things, which, yeah, okay, let's just keep going and see if we can get through this, okay? So believers are to make every effort, the writers of Hebrews say, or to strive, some of your texts will say, depending on your translation, for a couple of things. And we just went through them right there in verse 14. Peace with others and holiness, which means these two things, seemingly to the author of Hebrews, are intertwined. That without there being holiness, we may not be willing to work towards peace. And peace somehow is tied to holiness and seeing the Lord. And so if we are not living at peace and working towards peace, then we're probably not working towards holiness, or we're not working towards holiness, without which we're not going to see the Lord, both in the eternal, but also in the immediate. Holiness and peace. I think that this is important because it forces us to not just kind of brush peace aside and say, give peace a chance. No, we have no other path forward but to make peace a mandate. Give peace a chance. If you're a Christian, you don't get the chance to give peace a chance. It is a requirement because it is bound to holiness, to living a holy life, without which you're not going to see the Lord. Those two things are intertwined. So verse 15, let's go ahead and move forward to there. Look after each other so that none of you fails to receive the grace of God. Watch out that no poisonous root of bitterness grows up to trouble you, corrupting many. So what we now are seeing here is this idea of peace and holiness rolling itself out into practical advice for kind of how to do that and why it's important, something that you need to look out for if you're going to keep peace with everyone and live in peace with everyone and work towards a holy life. Then you're going to have to look out for each other, not just yourself. I'm gonna look up so that the light hits me right in the eyes, right here. Sometimes I'll do this with my kids and they hate it, absolutely hate it whenever I do one of these. It's just I try not to do it because they know I'm serious whenever I point to the eyes and then point at them. So it's like they've said, work with peace, living at peace with everyone, work towards a holy life. Without the Lord, you're going to see it. And then pay attention. Look after each other. Other people are your responsibility. You don't just get the privilege of taking care of you if you're a Christian on the way of Jesus. No, it is your responsibility to look after each other so that none of you fails to see the Lord, fails to receive the grace of God. Watch out so that no poisonous root of bitterness grows up to trouble you, corrupting many. This is essentially an allusion, which the readers would have understood, to Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 18, and the Hebrew text, which says, make sure that there is no man or woman, clan or tribe among you today whose heart turns away from the Lord our God to go and worship the gods of those nations. Make sure that there is no root among you that produces such bitter poison. And so this is an allusion that they would have understood, saying you have to make sure that there is no person, that there is no man or woman around you, that there is no clan or tribe, that there is no one in your family or in your workplace or in your neighborhood whose heart turns away from the Lord to go and to worship the gods of other nations. Now, this is speaking literally, obviously, but this is also speaking figuratively. Our hearts are oftentimes turned towards other things other than God. So watch ourselves and help watch those around you. And how do we know that there's an issue here? Whenever a root among you produces bitter poison. So Paul says, make sure that no root of bitter poison, not Paul, the writer of Hebrews says, make sure that no root of bitter poison grows, because it says that it defiles you. And that is a word which essentially translates to contamination. And this is the idea that the author of Hebrews is trying to get across, is that if you are not wary, and if you are not careful, then you can allow your heart to become so contaminated by other things, maybe not bad things, maybe bad things, but maybe not bad things, but not the best things, not the God-centered things, that you can allow this contamination to get in, bitterness. This root grows up within you. It comes in between you and your neighbor, and you're no longer able to live in peace. And if you're no longer able to live in peace with each other, then you're not able to live in holiness. And if you're not able to live in holiness, then you're not able to live with God. And so we see this like domino effect happening, where once it gets to the end of this domino effect, it becomes very, very difficult to stop those dominoes from falling. You got to race, you got to jump. You may not be able to get it stopped, and even if you get your hands on it, you may knock over the ones in front of it and just keep going. Or in different illustrations, it's like stopping a train. It's almost impossible to do, and it takes a really long time to do if you're even able to get it stopped before it destroys something. Back it up and pay attention to things in your own life very early. Pay attention to the contamination that may come into your heart and into your life. And if you're paying attention to that, then you will be able to prevent these roots of bitterness between you and others to grow. Remember, we're saying that this is practically something that you can do for yourself in order to help you live in peace. And it is impossible to be holy or to see God work in your daily life or in the eternal without peace. All right, so our activity for today, and we'll try to wrap this up quickly so that I don't yawn again. Draw a picture that illustrates Hebrews 12, 14 through 15. So if you've got the study guide, then you've got space in there. in order to draw this picture, and you've got all the writing tools and all the implements that you need in order to draw it, to color it to your specifications. Be creative. If not, if you don't have the study guide, feel free to print one off online, or obviously just grab a sheet of paper, grab a pencil, grab some pens, grab some markers, grab the kids' crayons or the grandkids' crayons, and have some fun. Be a kid again. Everybody at one time thought that they were an artist, and then at some point or there's somebody brutally convinced you, most of us, that you weren't. You got to kind of get back a hold of that childlike faith and confidence that you are an artist. Draw a picture that illustrates Hebrews chapter 12, 14, and 15 today. And if you're really brave, I'd love to see you post them on social media and tag me. Well, it's been good to be with you today. Just a reminder that if you would like those study materials, they are easily and readily available at go.christstable.today/peace. Look forward to being back with you tomorrow as we continue on this journey. But until that time,